What is going on, Raider Nation? It is JT coming at you with another unfiltered silver and black video talking about AFC West news, training camp news, and possible free agents the Raiders can still sign. So stay tuned. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave down in the comments a good old Raiders to show your support for the channel to keep this going. And I just hope you enjoy this video. To start, let's talk about the AFC West news that broke yesterday with Justin Herbert being diagnosed with plantar fasciitis, which is not a fun illness to have for your foot, or a fun ailment for your foot. It is one that could sideline him for the entirety of the rest of the offseason. He will not play any preseason games. Training camp's going to be very limited for him. The first 2 weeks he's going to be a boot, so he's not practicing really at all. And as Tristan Kuhn pointed out, if severe enough, he will not be ready for week one, like the team doctors of the Chargers are saying. And it is also an injury that ended Tyrell Williams. I don't know if you guys remember Tyrell Williams. I mean, it was only a few years ago, but still, he was a baller for us back in 2019, the start of it. And then he got plantar fasciitis, and then his career was over, which sucked. But yeah, Justin Herbert could be freaking sidelined for only that 40 days, or he could be sidelined for much longer than that. And the Chargers simply are a cursed franchise if that happens, because they cannot catch a break. They finally get a coach in Harbaugh that they have a lot of hope for, and then their star quarterback goes down. It would be a loss not only for the Chargers, though, it would be a loss for football as a whole, as Herbert is just an absolute beast. And then coming out of the Broncos, you have Bo Nix starting to separate himself as QB1. However, Jarrett Stidham, the two-game Raider legend, is somehow still in the mix there. However, it doesn't matter because the Broncos are going to be fucking assed this year. And then the Chiefs are looking just like the Chiefs, and the wide receiver problems are still there. They cannot get in the same wavelength as Patrick Mahomes, and Xavier Worthy looks really, really fast, but he got absolutely fucking pancaked in press man coverage. The guy bumped him, and he just stumbled over, and he was just completely thrown off for the rest of the route, the rest of the play. So it seems like it's pretty easy to just literally bump him at the line. That's pretty much how I think teams are going to play him, can he beat the press man? Can he survive that first bump, the first few bumps, and then still run a route and speed past this guy? Or is he going to be thrown off and then he's not an option, and then the play breaks down or whatever, and Patrick Mahomes still throws a touchdown to some random wide receiver we never heard of? That'll probably be what happens. But that's really all the news out of the AFC West. Now to talk about the important team in the AFC West, the Las Vegas Raiders, and their camp talk. Just talk about how the Broncos are having their QB1 starting to separate himself. The Raiders having the opposite problem right now. None of the quarterbacks are separating themselves. Besides Anthony Brown having a 90-yard touchdown run or something like that on like QB draw, which I don't know how the fuck that happened. But Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell are just battling. They're just super battling. There's no one separating themselves. They both look ass. It's not like they both look really good. They both look kind of ass, it seems like, from reports in camp. Now, no fans are there, so we don't really have a lot of videos, and the reporters can only get so many videos. So the only news we have is from reporters, and it's looking like they're both just really not that good. They have some good plays, they'll have some bad plays, and they'll have some bad plays, but overall, they're just looking not that good at all. With the pads coming on, they did look a lot better because the O-line was able to hold up against the D-line, but other than that, they just look ass, and that's not very promising for Raider Nation. And then cornerback 2 is looking like it's going to be Jakorian Bennett coming out. I talked about in last week's video. If you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out. But Jakorian Bennett is looking he's pulling away in that sense. I still think it's an issue because just because he looks good in camp like he did last year doesn't mean he's actually going to look good in the game, which is exactly what happened last year. So my stock in that is very low. Decamerion Robertson hasn't really stood out. Brandon Faison's been a ghost. I've literally not heard his name except for the fact that he's not at camp because he's injured or whatever. So that's great. That's fantastic. And also, Jakorian Bennett also looks like he has still a lot of penalty issues, which was a weakness last year for him. He wouldn't even make plays on the ball. He would just get penalties and then all that good stuff. Unless he can be like an Amik Robertson last year where one play, Amik would have, a crazy good play in the ball, and the next one he would have a, pass interference penalty. I'll take the 50-50 at that point because he's still making great plays on the ball. He had a lot of picks, he had a lot of, pass breakups. He made big plays in big moments. And if JB can do that, I guess it's fine at CB2. We don't necessarily need 2 lockdown corners on this defense because the D-line's going to absolutely fucking feast, and our secondary in terms of the safeties is looking really fucking good, and Nate Hobbs and Jack Jones are really solid corners. So I'm not super worried, like I said last video about CB2, but if we're having a guy that's just holding every play and is just getting beat every play, it is not going to help us because then they can just target him and he's going to get 150 yards hung on his head and 3 touchdowns. So definitely need to shore that up for sure, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit later, just a few minutes. And once again, the news is just the defense is absolutely dominating. Even when the pads came on, when the pads finally came on, they slowed down a little bit because the offensive line, receivers, and tight ends could actually block properly. They started to slow down a little bit, but that just shows that the O-line's at least solid, even without Colton Miller and JPJ, who are still on the PUP list, which is not great. And then defense and the run game will just be our bread and butter this year. So thankfully the run game seems to be pretty solid and the O-line's holding up enough. Darren Munford looks really solid. But the defense has just been getting picks, pass breakups, sacks, all that good stuff. They've just been absolutely just destroying the offense so far in camp, even with the pads on. So it's looking like we're going to be the old school ground and pound, stop them on defense, 17-7 type of games. Whether we're the 7 or the 17, I don't know yet. But should be an exciting defense to watch, at least, even if the offense looks sucky, or at least the quarterback play, because I think the offense outside of the quarterback is going to be kind of exciting to watch. Going more into the camp, we have some stock gainers. You got to buy in their stock now. These are the guys that are going to be showing up when people before the training camp started didn't really think we're going to make a big difference, or maybe they did, but they were very quiet voices. Now they're very loud voices, so definitely buy in on these players. The first one I'm going to mention is one I'm actually still not bought into yet, but apparently all the reporters are, so I'm just reporting. Not even reporting. I'm just talking about what I'm hearing. I'm not a reporter whatsoever. Don't take anything I say as fact. I'm just yapping to y'all on this good old Friday morning, or Friday morning for y'all still, when I'm recording it. JB0, Jakorian Bennett, he's rising. I can't deny it. His stock is rising. Should you buy in? I don't know. He's definitely a high risk, but possibly high reward stock purchase currently. He looks confident. He looks better. He's getting interceptions. He's making plays on the ball. Still has that penalty thing that I just talked about, which, is an issue. And like I said, I'm not sold on him yet, but he could be a very high risk, high reward buy in. So if you're looking for a little risky play, definitely buy into Jakorian Bennett hype. But two guys that are very safe, in my opinion. Brock Bowers, easy, safe buy-in. He's looked apparently really fucking good in camp. Very fast, just absolutely flying by receivers. He's like the white Darren Waller, I think. The white peak Darren Waller, that 2020, 2021 Darren Waller that should have been an all-pro tight end, 1,000 yards, back-to-back seasons, just an unreal beast of a tight end. Has the reception record for the Raiders of all time, beat out Tim Brown, and we think we have him now in Brock Bowers. We have a young white version of Darren Waller currently. He had a 20-yard rushing touchdown in camp. It's camp. You can't get too hype, but that stock going up. It was already pretty fucking high, so he's gonna be an expensive buy-in, and it's gonna be a little late of a buy-in, but buying the stock now, he's going to be a really fucking good tight end. He's probably going to make, I would say, he's going to be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year easily, especially if they use him in the gadget way that I think we will, rushing and catching the ball out of the backfield, the X, the Y, the Z spot, anywhere on the field, the slot, wherever you put him, he will be scoring, and he will be making big plays. And then you have Dylan Laube from UNH, the New Yorker. Bring him up. He's becoming a fan favorite, and he's a reporter favorite. He is just looking also super fast. Our Christian McCaffrey that we got in the 6th round. He was taking significant snaps with the ones the other day at camp. I think it was Wednesday. which is crazy. Rookie, 6th round pick, running back out of UNH of all places. But he could be running back 2, in my opinion, by the start of the season. That is something you could easily buy in. Low risk, high reward type of stock purchase at the moment. And I'm honestly really excited to see what Dylan Lobby can do for us as an offensive weapon along with Brock Bowers. Now, these are the stock losers that I'm going to be talking about. These are the guys you should be selling. Sell your stock now. Well, there's 2 guys I'm going to be talking about that aren't necessarily their fault, but I'm going to get to in a second. But Trey Tucker, for me, it's going down. I was so excited for him. He was looking really solid towards the end of the year. However, everyone forgets, outside of those big plays, he had a lot of drop balls. That was his big thing. He had sideline catches that he would bobble. One of his touchdowns against the Chargers was barely a touchdown because he bobbled it. He just, every time he catches the ball, it's just, it's like a hot potato. We need him to not be a hot potato. We need him to be catching the ball with stone cold hand, not stone cold, with nice, he just needs to catch the fucking ball. I don't know what the analogy I'm trying to use right now, but he just needs to catch the fucking ball. And in camp, he's been dropping balls, dropping touchdowns, dropping sideline catches, getting it punched out, getting it knocked out. He needs to have better hands. He needs to hit that jugs machine, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snack, midnight snack. He needs to be hitting that jug machine all the time. He needs to just be catching balls, catching balls. And just show up better. He needs to be better. We do not have a lot of wide receiver depth with Michael Gallup retiring. So he needs to step up in a big way. And then more stock down. The freaking quarterbacks. The stock losers right now. Aiden O'Connell also looks not that great in camp. Gardner Minshew is just like, what are we doing, guys? We need one of you to step up. Honestly, at this point, I don't care who steps up. I just want to see someone become quarterback 1. And I want to make sure he's the guy. Even if he's not the guy, I want him to be a guy. We have a quarterback that can be good. I want it to be Gardner Minshew. I love Gardner Minshew. I'm a big Minshew maniac guy, but we need someone. Please, we need someone to separate themselves in the quarterback battle. It is absolutely ridiculous that no one separated themselves yet. It's been, 2 weeks of training camp, almost a full week of padded practice, and no one separated themselves. They're both making the same amount of mistakes. It's ridiculous. We need someone to come out of this. And now, the final stock losers, and it pains me to say these 2 people, they're kind of tied, but it's also not entirely their fault, is Colton Miller and JPJ. Now, they've been injured. They've been on the PUP list since literally the start of training camp. They have not done any sort of off-season anything, Colton Miller especially. He's been hurting that shoulder. I don't know what shoulder it is. He's been working that shoulder. He got shoulder surgery on, and he's not back yet. Now, of the 2, I'm least worried about Colton Miller. He's a Pro Bowl snub every year. He's played really fucking good. Top 10 tackle, easy in the league. His entire career, not his entire career, but the last 3 seasons, top 10 tackle, easy. But shoulder surgery is not easy to come back from. Shoulder injury is not easy to come back from, and we need him to come back desperately. But also JPJ needs to come back. He needs to come back. As a rookie, we have, Brock Bowers looking really fucking good. We have Dylan Lobby looking really fucking good. Cameron Robinson could be something. We got Tommy Eichenberg playing some good snaps at linebacker. The literal second incarnation of Robert Spillane, in my opinion. But then you got JPJ with a concussion. Now, he's had concussion issues. He's had injury issues at Oregon his entire college career. That doesn't mean... It means a lot. It doesn't mean he's going to be sidelined the entire season. It doesn't mean he's going to be out the entire season. But it is concerning that he's got another injury like a concussion, because he has had issues with it in the past. And we really need him out there to solidify the left side of the line. We need both of them out there. They need to be getting snaps. They need to be getting snaps, man. We cannot just be having these guys sit on the sidelines and just not get cohesion. And we just need them out there. So those are the stock losers right now. And they've been pretty easy to see, and they're all on the offense. But there's also all the stock gainers are on the offense too, except for one. So what the fuck? What's going on? This offense is very bipolar right now. But now let's talk about the free agents that I see that we could sign. These are just, in my opinion, these are things I've researched loosely. I'm not very good with cap I'm not very good with contracts. I never will claim to be. I just know if it's a good contract, a bad contract, and I think a lot of these guys we can get for cheap. But I want to talk about, we have $34 million in cap as of right now. And we're working with about $24 to $30 million next season, depending on which website you look at. Don't know why it's different, but it's 2025, so it's another year from now. Contracts aren't solidified. But Jimmy G coming in next year, $12 million in dead cap. That is not good. We're also 14th dead cap right now with $29.6 million. Thanks, Chandler Jones, and Smurf people or whatever happened to him. And he just, Chandler Jones, $12 million of that. And next year we got another $12 million with Jimmy G. Just two really bad contracts from the Ziegler and Josh McDaniels era. Just awful. But because we're working with that type of cap space, which is like third in the league right now, and we're going to be top tier in the league next year, we need to extend some of our young talent now before they get too expensive, especially someone like Malcolm Koonce. Now, we need to see more of Koonce. All these players we need to see a bit more out of before we really extend them. And I think it could get done before the season, mid-season. I think it should be done mid-season, depending on how they perform. But Malcolm Koonce, pass rushers are getting paid a pretty penny right now. They're getting paid real good money. And over the cap has contract valuation around $7.5 million a year. Now, if he has another 8 to 10 sack season with TFL's forced fumbles just being an absolute dominant force on that D-line with Max Crosby, extend him. Easy. He could be expensive, but we need him on that opposite side of Crosby. Unless Tyree all of a sudden becomes like an all-pro, Pro Bowler, or even just really solid, Malcolm Koonce needs to be extended, in my opinion. He's the he's the Nightwing to Max Crosby's Batman. And then the next guy, these are all the same draft class, by the way. Trayvon Marek, second round pick out of TCU. Just played absolutely out of his mind last season. 3 picks. I think it was like multiple sacks. I don't know exactly the number off the top of my head. But again, OTC valuation over the cap gives him a $7.2 million. He could be valuable, but I'm willing to wait because 2023 may have been not the norm. It could be the new norm. But with Marcus Epps also going out of contract next season, but he's also getting older. Trayvon Marek could become our Marcus Epps. He could just be the leader of that backfield, the leader of that defense, but it's very hard to replace Epps' mental. Trayvon Marek is like the stats guy, and Epps is the nonchalant background guy. We don't really hear a lot about Epps. There's no really picks. There's no really sacks, but he's the absolute backbone of that backfield along with Marek. So we absolutely should extend him. And it looks like OTC, like I said, $7.2 million. Epps only has $6 million. But if Trayvon Marek has another 2023 season, he could easily be worth that $7.2 million. But only 14 safeties in the NFL get $7+ million. And some of them are really up there. So we need to prove he's worth that contract. But Nate Hobbs, by far our best corner draft by the Raiders in God knows how long. When's the last time you heard about a good Raiders corner that we drafted? You haven't. That's the thing. You have not. Nate Hobbs is our best corner that we've drafted in a very, very long time. Probably since I don't even know. Namandi. I forget how to say his name. I'm sorry. Don't hurt me in the comments. But I forget how to say his name. But anyway, OTC valuation is $3 million right now. Could easily see him getting up to $5 or $6 million, depending on how he plays this season. But he's an absolutely elite nickel corner, if not the best in the league, and he'll prove he is the best in the league this season. I'm confident in that. But keep him and Jack Jones on. Him and Jack Jones need to be staying together. Honestly, all three of these guys need to stay. These are the future of our defense, alongside Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. Absolute, we need to keep them. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. Now talking about free agents that we need to sign or should sign. So cornerback 2, as I talk about a lot, is our weakness, and I think Stephon Gilmore could fix that, and or Dory Jackson. But I think Stephon Gilmore has proven, without a doubt, he is still a top-tier corner in the NFL, despite his age being 33 years old. He played really well for the Cowboys last season. He played really well for Indianapolis Colts the year before that, and played really well for the Carolina Panthers the year before that. And I don't know what else teams need to see, except for the fact that he has a 74.4 PFF grade last season, 2 interceptions, and allowing only 54.9% completion percentage on an 83.3 passer rating. Just absolutely great numbers. He's also great mentorship. So he could really help out the young corner room that we have right now with the Cam, Nate, Jack, and Jakorian, and MJ Devonshire, all those guys. They could really use someone like Stephon Gilmore to help them out. And then you have Adoree Jackson. He's played with Patrick Graham before. He came off his worst season, so it could be a very medium to high risk, but medium to high reward signing. One of his best seasons was in 2021 in terms of pass rating allowed, only allowed 73.4. Crazy good number. One interception, 55.7% completion percentage, and a career best 8.7 yards per catch allowed. And that was, although 3 seasons ago. Will he get back to that? Who knows? But he was out. I was in Patrick Graham's system, and I think it could be a good 1 year prove a deal, cheap at this point in the season. So I think it should be a worthwhile signing as well. And then, like I was talking about earlier, behind Trey Tucker, names like Christian Wilkins, not Christian Wilkins. He's a defensive tackle. Kristen Wilkerson, DJ Turner, Tyreek McAllister, Ramel Keaton, Tulu Griffin, Jeff Foreman, Keelan Doss, Raider legend, Terrell Bynum, and Alex Bachman, all Madden randomly generated names, are currently competing for our wide receiver 4 spot. Wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 spot behind Trey Tucker. And honestly, we need someone better than that. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, of course. Yeah, we don't need anyone more than wide receiver 4 at this point. Great 1-2 punch with them. Trey Tucker's been rough, but honestly, he's wide receiver 3. He's the speed guy. We need him. Russell Gage is an easy choice to bring into that room. I don't know why we haven't yet. Probably because he's maybe a bit more expensive than a Kristen Wilkerson or a Terrell Bynum or a Tyreek McAllister. But I think it'd be well worth it. 400 plus yards in each season. He got 5 touchdowns 2 seasons ago. 700 yards. I mean, he's a reliable. He's a wide receiver 2, and we'd be having him as wide receiver 4. Now, he might be trying to get in a wide receiver 2 position, which we can't offer him. But, I mean, he could be a reliable 3rd, 4th, 5th option for very cheap, or at least solidly cheap. And I think it'd be well worth it to look into him. But really, the most important things to do is just get those extensions going and sign the CB2, because we need, unless Jakorian Bennett truly is that guy and the coaching staff believes in him. I don't believe in him, but I'm not the coach. I don't know I don't see him every day at camp. I don't believe in him, but that doesn't mean that we should not believe in him. But yeah, that is all I got for you guys today. That is a lot to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a long one. I hope you got through it. And if you got through it, leave down in the comments the name Max Crosby. That just shows me that you guys watched the entire video. I greatly appreciate that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Condor Season. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok at Condor Season. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, Raider Nation.